What's up? Welcome back to another Inside the Wave video. Today, we are going to be recapping Tulane's close loss to the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm joined by Isaac Popper. Isaac, thanks for joining me.
What's up, John? Good to do another weekly recap with you. It was quite the weekend in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I bet. I enjoyed following along on your Twitter, iPopStats. It's definitely a good follow if y'all aren't following him already. Yeah, it was a tough game. I'm uh, disappointed like a lot of Tulane fans, but there's a couple things Tulane needs to fix. There's also a lot of good to take away from the game. I think one of the things uh, to take away for Tulane fans is Tulane actually had a higher EPA or net EPA per play. Let me see, they were one of like six teams all weekend that had a higher net EPA per play than their opponent and lost, which is unfortunate. But it does show that the game and the quality of play might have been a lot closer than what the final score reflected. Isaac, can you give everyone a little background on that and explain what net EPA per play means for those that don't know?
Sure, John. So EPA can be calculated different ways because everyone has their own models, but basically what it stands for is expected points added. So that's on an individual play basis, and then it the EPA per play is adding up the total EPA in the game and then dividing it by how many plays the team ran, and then you get the expected points added per play statistic. So the one I use is gameonpaper.com, a really great website built by Akshay Esron and Saeem Galani, among others. They take their data from ESPN and then have some models and borrow some models that calculate a bunch of different metrics. The one at the very top that I'm always focused on in game and after games is EPA per play. And in this one, according to their model, Tulane had minus 0.14 EPA per play, so not great, but that's actually pretty good when you're considering going against a top 15 opponent, which that was 23rd percentile, so about the 1/4 mark, better than about a quarter of teams on average. And then Oklahoma was negative minus 0.10, 29th percentile. So 29th and 23rd percentile, very close. The graphs were somewhat similar as the game went on. Oklahoma did start positive in EPA per play, and Tulane started negative, but they really got it going at the end of the first half and then at the start of the second half. Excuse me. So about 50 plays in, 45 plays in, the EPA per play was pretty even. Tulane started to tail off in the middle of the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, and then Oklahoma's completely plummeted when Tyler Grubbs had the pick six, because that was a swing of 10 expected points based on the situation Oklahoma was in, and then the touchdown that resulted, so pushing Oklahoma back, plus giving Tulane 6-7 points. And then in the end, it finished almost about the same. Oklahoma ran about 75 plays. Tulane ran 68, and Tulane's total EPA was minus 9.6 through 68 plays, and then through 75 Oklahoma plays, they had minus 7.3 expected points added. So what this number is taking in so many different factors, but basically score, down and distance, and then the yard line, along with a home team factor. And then it combines all this into an average of how many points the team should get per play. Like, let's say it's 3rd and 4 from the 49 at Oklahoma, down 7. So also considering like what the team needs to do. And then it's obviously not perfect, but I do find this to be a better measure than anything else that's out there. Is that clear for you, John?
Yeah, that's a great in-depth explanation of EPA per play. Um, I think we should start off with, obviously it wasn't a perfect game from Tulane. There are a couple things that need to improve. We should go over some of those, and then we're going to talk about some of the good things that we saw from that game, which there actually were a solid amount of reasons for Tulane fans to be optimistic. I think for me, the first thing that I was hoping to see an improvement from week 2 to 3 that we didn't see was a bigger decrease in the pre-snap penalties. That was something that Willie Fritz teams were all really good at. I firmly believe that we actually upgraded from the move from Fritz to Coach Summerall, but you would like to see that number go down. It hasn't yet. It's been evident the first 3 weeks of the game, and it's cost Tulane the last two. So we need to improve on that. There are also a couple bad snaps. I don't know what's happening there, but that shouldn't be happening. I
No,
would love to see the.
no doubt, John. 9 penalties for 60 yards is too many. I think the players know it. I will say, got a few tough calls, including Bailey Despain's targeting call in early second quarter. Despite only playing 22 snaps, Bailey recorded 9 tackles. 9 tackles in 22 snaps. Only 11 were passing downs, by the way. And he still finished with 9 tackles. I think most of them were on passing downs. Very impressive, and that actually got him in the top 10 this week among all defensive players in FBS and PFF tackling grade.
Yeah, no, he's an excellent player, great tackler. Would have loved to see a full game from him. What he could have done there, it was we'll say a questionable call. I mean, at worst, it's a tough situation when the quarterback's running at you and you got to go make a tackle. If you don't, he could run right by you, and right before you get there, he drops to the ground to slide, and you hit him because it's a split second. Can make a difference. It's a really tough situation to be in, but he had a hell of a game while he was in there. I'd love to see the block shedding for the run defense get better. Kansas State kind of had their way with Tulane in the run game, and Oklahoma was pretty successful too. Um, but I'd say those for me are the main things we need to correct. And then we can jump into the exciting stuff unless you have anything else, Isaac, that you're hoping to see improvement for Tulane for next week.
Definitely the kicking game for me, John. 1 extra point did not go how Tulane thought it would have liked. And for me, as someone who keeps track of all the streaks and stats, that was important. I know a lot of the other folks in the press box covering Tulane, obviously not many, knew exactly what that meant when Ethan Head, a true freshman, missed an extra point. What it meant was that Tulane broke what was the second longest active streak in the country of consecutive extra points. So a quick shout out to Valentino Ambrosio, Glover, Kristen Esnard, Graham Dable, and Jacob Barnes for being a part of that streak of 203 straight extra points. The last miss before Ethan Head's miss on Saturday was in the 2020 season opener for South Alabama.
Wow, super, super long streak. A lot of the missed extra points in college football because the NFL extra points move back, but the college football one is not. It's pretty close up. So it's normally a gimme of a kick. The way it's typically missed is it gets blocked. So it's, big credit to the kickers, but also big credit to the protection Tulane has had on those extra points in previous years.
Good point, John. It's been a great special teams unit all throughout. And in fact, Will Carroll, 78-yard punt on Saturday. I was like, is that just going to keep going and going? And it did. It was a true missile from Will Carroll, owner of the longest punt in both American Athletic Conference Championship game and Military Bowl history. He's got the longest punt in both of those, and then this was 10 yards longer. So very impressive from Will Carroll. And nice to see after the first punt didn't go how he would have liked.
Yeah, big bounce back punt for him. Now let's get into some of the positives. If you made it this far, like the video, let us know what you liked seeing. Subscribe, support the collective by doing that. There's a couple things I want to highlight that were really good. I think the first thing I want to talk about is offensive coordinator Joe Craddock's use of Ty Thompson. I thought it was incredibly creative. There were a couple play calls I noticed that he'd been setting up. Not just in that game, but the last few weeks. I'm sure you're familiar with this point with the Typhoon package with Ty Thompson. It's where he comes in at quarterback, takes the snap, and then they run some sort of wildcat option offense. He actually decided to throw it out of this formation this game or out of this package. and it went for a touchdown. So we actually have the video of that right here, and I'm going to play that for y'all.
2nd and goal on the 7. Thompson being chased, throws him to the back of the end zone, and what a catch! Touchdown, Reggie Brown.
I loved that touchdown, John. I was crouching thinking it was going to be maybe a run with Ty Thompson like some of the other ones. And then I had to get up and hold my camera over the other photographers that were on the sideline to be able to get that Reggie Brown catch in the frame. Impressive catch, impressive throw from Ty. Keep loving what we see with Ty Thompson, and I hope they continue the Typhoon packages, especially now that you don't know if he's going to run or pass. He's got over 50 total yards and a few touchdowns on the season now.
Yeah, it was a great play design, great catch. But I think that was my second favorite Ty Thompson play. My favorite Ty Thompson play comes where he was used as a decoy. They actually had 2 quarterbacks in at once. This was the 4th down touchdown to Mekhi Hughes. On this play, Mensa takes the snap, and they actually have Ty Thompson come in motion around the back, and they fake a reverse to him and get the defense moving that way. So they used a quarterback as a decoy. I thought that was incredibly interesting. We have that for you right here. Ty Thompson as the reverse decoy.
They fake the reverse. Mensa on the boot, finds Hughes. Can he get to the end zone? It's close. He got hit, and he got across. Touchdown, Tulane.
For a second, I didn't think Mekhi was in, but of course Mekhi, the guy who always extends the play, extends for the extra inch, was the right person to catch that ball and get a touchdown. Great play call from Joe Craddock on that one. And I'm glad you bring up this play, John, because when I first looked at the PFF stats, I forgot that specific play. It was a little bit hard to see up in the press box where I went for a little bit of the third quarter at halftime. And Ty Thompson had by far, the best PFF grade on our offense. The next best was Reggie Brown. And Ty Thompson had a PFF grade of 84.1. I don't know how they came up with this stat. Obviously, it's not perfect. None of their stats are perfect, but it is pretty good. His passing grade was only 59.2. He was in on 2 plays. Both were touchdowns. And the Reggie Brown touchdown should have been a way better passing grade than 59.2. But the fact that he ended with an 84.1 grade on offense just shows how valuable that play was right there.
Yeah, it was incredibly valuable. I mean, he's got a about as perfect of a QBR as you can get, right? 1 for 1 and a touchdown, 100% completion percentage. That's a great season right there if you could keep up that pace. My player of the game for me on offense was Dante Fleming, the training camp standout. Isaac actually found this stat, great stat. Dante Fleming in his career so far has eclipsed 70 yards just 4 times, but 2 of those times have been in the last 2 weeks, once against Kansas State, and then he had 78 total yards this past game against Oklahoma. So he's trending in the right direction, definitely developed well. Actually had 59 yards receiving, but then had a reverse for 19 yards, so that counted as a rush. He had a great game. And on defense, we have Tyler Grubbs. Tyler Grubbs is going to be – we just got done actually interviewing him, so that video will be up tomorrow. We're going to have him walk you through these 2 plays I'm about to show you. So definitely if you want a better look at that, turn on notifications, subscribe. Go check out that video tomorrow. If you're watching this in the future – the day after it comes, this video is posted, and scroll back and look for it because it's up by that point. But here's Tyler Grubbs' sack.
Arnold to throw. Pressure on him, and he's sacked. It's Grubbs coming late.
And then next we have, in my opinion, the play of the game, his pick six.
So an unforced error. 1st down and 15. Pressure up the middle. Arnold throws a pick. It's intercepted at the 10 by Grubbs, and it's a touchdown. Tulane right back in the game. Arnold got hit, forced that throw. Grubbs jumped it and made a house call.
Enjoy hearing Dave Pasch on the call for that one. It's not debatable. That was by far the play of the game. Analytically, evaluating the game from a scouting perspective. Awesome jump. Good to see Tyler do that in front of some NFL scouts.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great play. I'm not going to say anything else about it because I don't want to spoil what Grubb said about it. But his breakdown of the play and walkthrough was definitely interesting and speaks to his intellect as a player. So definitely go watch that video. That's what I have for the best things to take away for Tulane. Isaac, do you have anything else?
A couple of my other top players, which I post on Twitter every week, included Reggie Brown. It included who was it? Shit. Kevin
Tyler
Adams.
Grubbs.
Yeah, it was Tyler Grubbs, and Tyler Grubbs. But also, I thought Bailey Despany played great, even though it was a short time. And Kevin Adams played well too. Yoel Keith Brown also was impressive.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep this video a little shorter. Obviously, disappointing loss, but Tulane is still undefeated in conference play, so that's the goal this season is win the conference and let the chips fall where they fall. At times like this, it's important to put it into perspective. These games aren't even games that I would have been looking forward to necessarily years ago as a Tulane fan, but this program has come such a long way that we can really hang with just about anyone in the country, and I think that speaks volume about the direction the program's heading in.
Definitely, John. 0-3 in the series versus Oklahoma, and we did snap our road streak. But Oklahoma's a top 15 team, and Tulane was down less than a touchdown with the ball twice in the fourth quarter. They were down only 5 points as well, same amount actually, in 2021 when Michael Pratt had the 4th and 13 that questionably wasn't a first down.
It wasn't.
Both games were over 90 degrees, and Tulane hung in. And Kansas State, let's talk about them briefly as well. They blew the doors off of a ranked Arizona team. Arizona didn't score after the opening drive, and Kansas State hung 30, John. So this bodes well for the Tulane team. They've got a tough test coming up versus Louisiana Lafayette. The analytics actually have Tulane as an underdog.
Well, I guess that goes to show the analytics aren't always right.
They shouldn't be underestimated. CFB Graphs, Parker Fleming stats over on Twitter has Tulane with just a 35% win probability, but we'll dive into that and how that might have come about on our next podcast coming out tomorrow, previewing the Louisiana Lafayette game versus the Tulane Green Wave.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back going in the right direction, get another win. Thanks for joining me, Isaac. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment what you're most excited for conference play and for next week's game as well. Roll Wave.
Roll Wave.